There are countless videos out there of people surviving 100 days in a hardcore arc, but how many people have actually beaten the arc within 100 days? Probably a lot actually, but that's not the point, so shut up. Because this is what I'm going to try. And keep in mind, this is not hardcore because I am not as good as these people, so I definitely die a lot. A lot of times. I die too much. I personally have never beaten the game in any sort of fashion. I usually give up after a couple caves. But this time will be different. This time, I will actually ascend before the 100-day mark. And if I can't do it within 100 days, I will eat an entire tub of Vegemite. I would also like to note that there were a couple problems while making this video, including having the tame damage per level turned up, and I didn't realize it until after I was done recording, so it is what it is. And, of course, the classic arc move of crashing the game and deleting your character entirely. But you're gonna have to keep watching if you want to see it. Also, if you find yourself enjoying the video, please leave a like so that I can make more stuff like this in the future. And if you find yourself coming back to see my content on a regular basis, consider subscribing. It encourages me to keep making videos, so it is very appreciated. Now without further ado, watch me as I beat Ark the Island in less than 100 days. And one last thing before the video starts, I want to give a huge shout out to Zany Zebra and Granty for their inspiration to make this video. You guys have great senses of humor, and you should definitely go check out their videos. The links are in the description. They, in my opinion, are much better than this one. Anyway, with the video. Alrighty, so day one, we start off to some really choppy music and a metallic recording from my voice. I have no idea why it sounded like this. What happened to the music though? As any survival game would start, I began by collecting some very basic resources that would ultimately help me on my journey to becoming the biggest Sigma male this island has ever seen. I then found a dodo and decided to turn it into a juicy carcass so I could enjoy it in all of its edible glory. Then I started heading inland to find a better base location, where I found another dodo, which I promptly murdered. I then stumbled upon a pack of dodos, and rather than killing them all this time, I looked for the highest level, so I could tame one. Because why not? Once I found the highest level, I proceeded to punch his lights out, then do what every other bird tamer does. I shoved berries up his... Anyway, it didn't take too long for him to tame up, and once he did, I gave him the generous name of KFC 10-piece basket.
Get your ass back here, boy!
After that, I began placing the foundations for my first base, and gathered some resources as well. Then I headed into the cave right next to my base to find some water, but found nothing. But there was this cool crystal, and after seeing that there were no monsters around, I hurried to harvest it. Afterward, I placed a little bit more of my base. I really needed somewhere safe to stay during the night since it was a dangerous part of the forest, so I couldn't waste any time in building protection for myself. I crafted up some narcotics even though I knew I wouldn't use them until much later, and then put in the rest of the roof for my base, because I like roof and roof good. And honestly, even though it's just simple thatch, I thought it looked really homely and was pleased with the outcome. I felt comfortable here. I then spent most of the night picking up more berries and fiber, as well as taking a look around the place. And as dangerous as it was, I did not die, and for that, congrats Choofy, you survived your first day. I spent the early hours of day 2 upgrading some of the foundations to wood, before running down to the beach to grab some water, because I was a really thirsty boy. I then looked around and found some dangerous creatures wandering the shores, not including this Dilo that I promptly murdered. I really didn't do much that morning. I then saw all these parasaurs running away from something, and got really curious, because it was probably nothing huge, but I figured I could use something to protect the base, so I decided to investigate a little bit. I didn't see anything dangerous on the far side of the shore, so I wondered if it was on my side, and found this level 104 raptor. I wanted him as my own immediately because that would have been an amazing early game tame. So I devised a plan to get up on top of this rock and shoot down at them, where hopefully they wouldn't be able to reach me. And as I waited for them to make the next move, I watched them kill a Triceratops, which wasn't as cool as it sounds. I sorta just sat there on top of the rock while I waited for them to come closer, and they eventually did when they started chasing this parasaur. When they killed it, they aggroed onto me, and it was finally my time to shine. And honestly, things turned out to be not too bad at first because they didn't seem to be able to get on top of the rock. So I got a little bit too comfortable and started shooting at the lower level, and when that happened, the higher level flanked me. What? Yeah, I wasn't too happy. I'm going to murk myself, holy shit. As I ran back to my stuff, I knew I couldn't go at it head on because of those raptors. And so I headed up this cliffside all clever-like to avoid their attention. And it worked pretty well since they didn't notice me and moved away from my stuff. So I figured I was all safe and absolutely nothing in the world could go wrong, right? Uh-oh. Nice. Well, that was scary and I peed myself, but I survived the drop and luck was on my side. So now it's fine. Oh, just kidding. I made a break for my stuff and you'll see how well that turned out. This game did it a couple more times to me. It was pretty great. Wonder if that's the one that keeps killing me. Want revenge. When I finally got my stuff back, I took pot shots at the pack until I finally hit one, causing all three of them to come after me. But this time, I was way more prepared and bullet all three of them. Then, with my bow and arrow, I shot the lower levels in the face until they were very, very dead. And it was very, very satisfying. You die? After they were dead, I chased down the level 104 who tried to run away before realizing it could still actually attack me. Did you just now realize that you can take me? I bulleted him too and then started shooting at him with my slingshot. But eventually he started running away too after he broke out, so I had to chase him down. That was pain. One more time, I tried to hit him with a bola, which seemed to work. Yeah. But I'm honestly not sure because he broke out really fast. What? Didn't matter though, because through some weird glitch, he just decided not to run past me. At the turn of night, I finally knocked him out. Yes. I then put some meat in his inventory and waited for him to tame up. I just sort of watched stuff while I waited for him to actually tame. And when he did, yes. I named him Donut. I then crafted him a saddle, equipped it, and then rode my new prize home, where I called it a day. It was very nice. Day 3, I saddled up on Donut and headed into the cave, which normally is a really, really bad idea to do. But I was feeling really bold, and I needed some more adventure. And honestly, I had no idea how powerful my raptor was. I mean, look at this. 181 damage a hit? That is insane. Damn, Daniel! So then I quickly realized I could probably take down anything in this cave. And once I started taking down the centipedes with these, high-level ones at that, I realized I couldn't be stopped. So I started killing anything that got in my way, which honestly wasn't much because the cave was relatively deserted. I found almost nothing on my way to the artifact, so it was a really easy grab and go. Once I got back, I decided to take Donut out for a little spin as well as a killing spree, and boy was I unstoppable. Nothing could even touch me. I then went exploring on him a little bit and headed towards a beach to the south of me. I wanted to find some explorer's notes there, but first I accidentally tamed this Pegastomax. I had no idea what to do with him, so I didn't even give him a name. I mean, he's kinda cute. Not really, but kinda. Thank you, Robot Choofy. I went ahead and grabbed the explorer's notes, which was a breeze since they were right next to each other. Oh yeah, baby! With both of them, they gave me an insane amount of levels for my raptor.
After that, I decided to go back home, and on my way, I decided to make my first tranquilizer arrows, which was pretty cool. I also ran into this Carno, which stood absolutely no chance. Oh, he didn't even stand a chance. I then bullied a high-level Parasaur, then shot it with tranq arrows until it passed out. Then I put some berries in its inventory and waited for it to tame. Once it did, I gave it the awesome name of Pop-Tart. Then I decided to make a Pteranodon saddle and some ghillie armor just for the sake of it. Then I slowly made my way home on my new tame. Life was good. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I had no idea how stupidly overpowered Donut was until I decided to take down this Diplodocus. 331 freaking damage. Are you kidding me?
That's a lot of damage!
I then finished the day by placing 2 large storage boxes I found in a drop. Day 4 started up with making a bunch of narcotics, which I would obviously need for later for some of the bigger tames. I headed back into the cave on Donut just so I could kill more stuff, but I was really bummed out. There was nothing there. Nothing. I had no idea what to say. These things are supposed to be chock full of creatures. On the bright side, I found this green drop, which had some decent loot, including this ramshackle kangaroo saddle. I would definitely be sure to use that later. As I was heading around this corner, I found a level 16 Megalosaurus, which would be an absolutely fantastic addition to my collection. I set up a weird trap. I didn't really know what I was doing here. I just figured he couldn't break stone, so I made the stone wall and began shooting at him. And obviously he didn't like that too much. He came over and tried to break my wall, but it did not yield for him, and neither did I. When he tried to run away, I chased him down. And then eventually, I knocked him out. Then put some meat in his inventory to settle the score. While he was taming up, I just sort of wandered around looking for enemies. Finding none, I just went and I grabbed the artifact for a second time. So now I had 2 of the same artifact. Cool. Finally, he tamed up, and I named him Cosmic Brownie. I was really going with this food theme. Then I sort of tried to lead him out of the cave, which was a really slow process, since these creatures are nocturnal. Then, in a chamber kind of close to the front of the cave, he decided to stop using his brain, so I just left him there and decided I'd come back later for him. When I got back to the surface, I started taming stuff, including this really cute otter. Literally, these guys are the cutest things in the game. Oh, look at you. And you got me silica pearls. Then, later as the evening fell, I just tussled with a Diplodocus, then started building a trap for level 88 Therizino that I saw. I really wanted him. You know, just add it to the list of creatures I wanted. It's not really that special. Anyway, as night fell, I finished the trap, and I was ready to trap the Theri. Oh boy. It took a little bit of persuasion, but I finally got him angry enough to come over and get into the trap. And let's be completely honest, I forgot how scary these guys are because they hit extremely hard. But as I started to shoot him with my tranquilizer arrows, his friend came and helped him out. Existence is pain, bro. I actually forgot to start recording at the beginning of day 5, but all that really happened was me getting my stuff back and knocking out the Therizino, which was mostly tamed by now. I then spent the time waiting for it to tame by shooting at this Ichthyornis, and it was a little bit satisfying. A lot bit satisfying. Anybody who kills one of these guys is my friend. When he finally tamed up, I named him Tony Kachiri Seasoning, because he grinds up his opponents into seasoning. Anyway, on my way back home, I saw the level 8, and I think this was the one that kept killing me. Regardless, I wanted to piss it off so Tony would fight it for me. And oh boy, that was a fun sight to see. He was done in mere seconds, and honestly, I knew I made the right decision in taming him, so, pog. I spent a lot of the rest of the day fixing up my house to wood, and then I took a ride out into the woods on Donut and found an alpha raptor, and now it was finally time to prove myself. So, I pissed it off, and then started fighting it, and honestly, it was just a really underwhelming fight. I finished him off pretty quickly. Day 6 started out with me crafting my first metal tools, as well as a bunch of cementing paste that I would need for later. I then tamed this raptor just because it was there and high enough level. Literally no other reason.
Nice cock!
I then named him Fritters. Then I took Donut back down into the cave, looking for more creatures, and there were creatures. So I finally got to level them up a little bit more. And again, no one stood a chance. Then I found a level 48 Megalosaurus, and I immediately wanted him for my own.
Yeah, baby.
My plan was to shoot a grappling hook up at the ceiling and then shoot him from there. So ideally he wouldn't be able to get me, and it seemed to be working at first. Like all my plans. But it went wrong as soon as I hit him with the very first arrow, because he started running away, and it was really hard for me to hit him from this vantage point. So I started chasing him on foot, and for the time being, he didn't seem interested in hitting me back, so that was a bonus. I just kept shooting him. Until this point, which he just randomly got aggressive, and then things got a lot more complicated. I tried to run for Donut, who for some reason started running away, and then I got caught up in the Megalosaurus' jaws, and he chewed me to a mushy pile of pulp. Oof. So I ran back down into the cave and got Donut, and it was clear that he really messed that guy up, because he didn't have a single scratch, and the Megalosaurus was nowhere to be seen. So I hopped off of Donut, picked up my Pegastomax and got my stuff, and then headed back onto the surface. When I did so, I crafted a saddle for Cosmic Brownie, and then rode him out of the cave. I rode him around and then just sort of killed stuff for a lot of the night. Day 7, I harvested the metal I would need to craft my Therizinosaur saddle so I could head inland and create my better base. This involved a lot of waiting around and crafting more and more resources, but this way I wouldn't have to make repeated journeys back to keep getting materials. That was the idea anyway. It took a lot of patience, but finally, around midday, I was finally ready to go. And so I settled up on Tony and got Donut to follow, and then I was on my way. I decided to settle on the flat shores north of the redwood forests and immediately began collecting some resources so I could build my foundations. And this sort of happened. Then I found this high-level Microraptor on the far shore and decided I wanted it to be my friend. So I force-fed him some tranquilizer arrows and made him my friend. I called him Tiny because he's tiny. I spent most of the night putting down my foundation. Day 8, I forgot to start recording again until about halfway through the day, but all that really happened in the morning was taming a high-level Pteranodon, so now I had a fast way to get around. When I got back, I found this Brontosaurus stepping over my foundation, so I executed him for trespassing. I also tamed a higher level otter and gave him the name Uwu Face because, well, my other otter's back at home somewhere. I kinda lost him. He could be dead for all I know. I'll make a really good dad someday. I spent most of the rest of the day expanding my circular foundation outwards, and then I crafted some large storage boxes in the evening so I'd finally have somewhere to put all my stuff so I wouldn't be carrying it around all the time. During the night, I organized said stuff, and it started feeling a little bit more homely, even though I had no walls. In the wee hours of day 9, I began the journey back to my old base on Donut, so I could get the rest of my materials and creatures to the new base. Unfortunately, things started going wrong as soon as I looked at my map. I got assaulted by a pack of raptors, and, well, Donut ran away again. Hey, Donut! Donut, get back here! Where are you going? This was not fun in the slightest, but it's still kind of funny. I got really mad. Hey! Donut! Donut! While Donut was busy playing tag, I got turned into a pile of minced meat. Why isn't he attacking? That makes no sense! So how you want to play it? We can play that game. I returned on Tony Kachiri and decided to give them a taste of their own medicine. I really should have named my Therizino Blender since never mind. I decided to take Tony back home since I wouldn't need him anymore, and I saw this Alpha Carno, so I decided to tussle with him. But I quickly saw that it was really no contest. I was just too powerful. Once I got him back home, I took Donut back out, and this time I successfully made it back to the base. But when I got back, I realized that Cosmic Brownie was still asleep and that I would need to wait until night to make the journey back. So I spent the rest of the day on top of donuts in the caves, killing everything I could see and getting all that sweet, juicy experience. I couldn't make it back to base before day 10 started, so while I waited for Cosmic Brownie to wake up, I found this high-level Dodic. How good are you? Ooh! I really needed him since they're good for harvesting stone, so I could build my base much more efficiently. So I chased him down and peppered him with shots until he passed out inevitably. Nice. While I waited for him to tame, I found this Alpha Raptor while I was riding around on fritters and thought I could take him on, and I was wrong. Oh, he's dead! Oh, I'm dead! Yeah, we stood no chance, really. I returned on Tony Kachiri later and got all of my stuff back. After that, the Dodic tamed up, so I gave him the name of UTZ Cheese Ball. When I got home, I placed a bunch of walls. I used large walls because I was going for the larger, bigger, grander build this time. And to round out the night, I placed a couple of refining forges and a smithy. Things were starting to look good.
And day 11 just sort of disappeared off the face of the earth, which is okay, because it seems that all I did was get some crystal and made a wall. Yeah. Day 12, I started by building more of my house before heading out on Donut to build his raptor community. I was a little bit afraid that if he didn't get any more friends, he would turn into an incel later in life. Like a raptor version of Chris Chan. But getting back on track, later I built an RG track because I needed one of those big turkeys, and I'll easily let one inside because they're big stupid birds until I tell them otherwise. Did that even make sense? You know what? Yeah, it did. Shut up. I named him Thanksgiving Turkey, by the way. The next day was spent building up my base some more because I wanted to be safe, because base equals safe. Then I built, placed, and made a fabricator for better stuff, and then organized a lot of my loot. It was pretty boring, actually. The next couple of days were more or less the same. I went to the volcano and got some stuffs, then built up more of my base with said stuffs, then built even more of my base with even more stuffs, then built some of the roof with some roof stuffs I had collected. And then something happened that I'm not taking responsibility for.
Ew. Look, a shortcut. A shortcut back. How convenient. I did that on purpose.
This one here's on Donut. I had no part in this. It was all him. He sucks at building bases. You know, I had nothing to do with it, so blame him. I spent the entirety of the legendary day 16 building the wall around my entire freaking base. And also another thing, that is a lie, because also that day I built crop plots so I could grow up a bunch of little plant babies and an irrigation system to my house, because you know what's good for you? Water. On 17, I placed my gates and screwed around with some of the wildlife for levels before heading off to the cave of the artifact of the something, I can't remember. The wildlife in there was just as creepy as ever, but I had no problem with them because my raptor's a beast. And I even found this blue cave drop that didn't give me anything good. Pushing that to the dark depths of my mind, I grabbed the artifact and left home victoriously. The following morning, I stood on a rock and tamed up this level 60 dire bear, and it went very smoothly. The cool thing about dire bears is that on top of an already amazing base damage, they pick up speed the longer you run with them. After I was done with that stuff, I flew up to the mountains to find a good ankylosaurus to tame up. It wasn't long before I found this level 72, and so I decided he was now mine, and so I flew home with him and tamed him. And a fun fact about day 19, I forgot to start recording again. Oh god, why? Bro, I'm incompetent! What I didn't capture was trapping and knocking out this Thylaceo, but fortunately he tamed up while I was recording, so I named him Climby Kitty. After that, I got some more metal in the mountains with my new Ankylosaurus, and then in the evening I left on Climby Kitty to go on the ultimate caving trip, but it was also to level him up as well. Gonna be honest, forgot about caves on day 20, but I got a bunch of silica pearls instead, which was also good. And while I was at it, I found this amazing level 72 Sharky boy, and I wanted him, so I shot him in his stupid face until he became sleepy. While I waited for Sharky boy to tame, I did the same to this dire wolf, and before I knew it, he was a good boy. I completely forgot about the caves on day 21, so I returned home on my kitty and wolf and spent the day preparing for the real caving spree. So the next morning on day 22, I headed out to the very poisonous swamp cave. So poisonous I would need scuba gear to breathe because the poisonous gases in there would kill me in minutes. The swamp cave was every bit as disgusting as I remembered it, and the ungodly amount of dragonflies in that cave did not help. But I got to the artifact, and it was pretty easy because I am Chad. After I was done with my business in the swamp cave, I headed south to the south cave of something or other, which the name doesn't matter. What matters is that breaking physics on dead crocodiles is fun. I emerged the next day, which I spent traveling up to this cave, which is on the north side of the map. And it's on this island that only spawns carnivores for some reason. But the thing about this cave is it's just one giant room, a giant chasm in the middle of it. And it's not the worst. And honestly, just like any other cave so far, I had no problem getting the artifact.
Nice.
On day 24, I paid a visit to the hardest cave on the map, the Snow Cave, and to this day I still think it was the most stressful experience out of anything in this entire video. Mostly because your main enemies are not like bats and centipedes and spiders and whatever, like in the normal cave. It's bears and wolves and yetis and awful stuff. Fortunately, I brought my Therizino in a cryopod, so I was able to move through the cave with relative ease, and allowed me passage to the artifact, so that was cool. When I finally re-emerged from the cave, it was already day 25, and I still had work to do before I could fight the bosses. I dropped off my loot at home and crafted a Megalodon saddle, and then I went out on Sharky Boy and killed some stuff before finding this level 64 Basilosaurus, and I spent the rest of the day taming him. Day 26, I went looking for a Megatherium so I could fight the Spider Mommy, and I kept finding low levels, but eventually I found this level 88 and I didn't have anything, so I frantically gathered resources to make a trap for him. And then once I did, I figured all was clear. Of course, then a certain bird came along and decided to ruin all of my plans. After that massive disappointment, I found this level 116 Tyrannus and wanted him, so I started getting all the resources and materials I need to build a trap. It took me the rest of the day, so I had to keep an eye on him so he didn't get away.
Run, 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 run. No! No! Oh, that's so annoying. Got a plan. This plan is gonna work, I swear. It will work. I'm positive. I'm so positive, I would bet my firstborn child on it. Yes!
It was indeed a good day.
Oh, is that a baryonyx? I need him. I need him. I need him right now.
As fast as I could, I built up this trap for Baryonyx Boy, and I knocked him out, which took a lot quicker than I actually thought. And before I knew it, he was mine.
Yeah.
The rest of the day was spent collecting a bunch of resources so I could start mass crafting stuff like gunpowder, spark powder, and cementing paste, because I would need more gunpowder and cementing paste to make a broomstick. And I continued this trend all the way through day 29. On day 30, I tamed this cute little bird called an Archaeopter. It's a bird. Then I took my baryonyx down to the lava cave, and just like always, I was an absolute unit and couldn't be stopped by anything that tried to eat me. And then, of course, something terrible had to happen that threw all of my plans into the gutter and ruined my life. And to make matters worse in the recording, my voice started doing this weird echoey thing.
Anybody here? Okay then. Stay safe, buddy. Hey, I heard it. Where? Where was it? Oh, I see you. Oh. You kidding me right now? Get me out of the lava. Oh no.
Bruh. Yeah, I didn't feel too good after that one, so I flew around on my Pteranodon to clear my head. But while I was trying to get some more resources to build another spyglass for myself, I saw something that completely distracted me.
Oh wait, hold on. Dude! Oh my god. Oh my god. That's a king. Hey, yo!
Naturally, I wanted him as my own, so I spent the entire next day gathering the resources I needed for a trap. But before the day was done, I found this male 108 Therizino, and I needed him. He was the perfect candidate to be a breeding partner for my Therizino army, which I would use to beat the dragon. While I was waiting for my Therizino to tame up, I tamed this Tegraptor for the lone reason that he looked really cool. And when I was getting him some levels, my Therizino finished taming up.
Oh, beautiful.
However, when I was looking at the logbooks after that, I noticed that my otter and my baryonyx were not listed as dead, so I headed back into the lava cave, hoping that I could find him again.
Otter go. Oh, that's me.
Unfortunately, my baryonyx was dead, but I was somehow able to access his inventory.
That lava is... Oh, I got my stuff!
However, my persistence actually paid off because I did find my other companion.
Get on my shoulders! Yes! Yes!
I spent most of day 4 running around on my new Therizino leveling it up so I could get it high enough to produce some more high-level babies. While I still had daylight, I collected a bunch of stone so I could build a huge crafting hub that I had planned. It was gonna be really cool. The early hours of day 35 were actually spent building the base of my new crafting hub. Then I went out looking for that Giganotosaurus, and he was not hard to find because he's freaking huge. So I rushed down the mountainside and built the metal gate trap because Gigas can't break metal. Then I was ready to trap it.
We turn fast. This way. Oh, wow. Owie. You in? Stop. This is gonna hurt. Get out, get out, get out! Oh. Did not expect it to go down. Wow. Oh my god. It's mine! Oh. Coming home with me, buddy.
I literally got a Giganotosaurus before I got my first Rex. Care to explain that one for me? Day 36, I romped around on my Giga and killed everything I could find, and I also ventured up to the cave of the artifact of the Skylord, which was only accessible by RG because of this narrow cliffside. And let's be completely honest here, I expected more of a fight from these caves, but most of the creatures spawned like right in the ceiling, like this bat right here. And they didn't fight back, and so it was, I just killed them. The worst part about this was my near-death experience when I jumped off this little ledge. By the way, those chasms are instant death, no matter how much health you have or like how much you're wearing. So that's not ideal. The majority of my day 37 was taken by looking for a high-level Rex, and I was finding nothing until this level 68 popped up, and I decided to settle since obviously nothing better was found. And so I hurried to build up a stone gate trap for it, and luring it in was really easy. When night fell, I had him taming on up. My Rex finished taming up on the morning of day 38, and while I was out leveling it up, I found this level 96 Rex, so you know what I did next. I spent the rest of the day looking for a high-level male Rex so I could breed my females, but none of them were good. And so the search continued into day 39, and I finally found this level 101 male Rex, and so of course, I made him mine. While I was waiting for him to tame, I decided to go after this Brontosaurus because I wanted a Brontosaurus, and why shouldn't I have a Brontosaurus?
Just, yes.
The next 3 days were literally spent building my crafting hub and hatchery, so I know you guys don't want to watch all of that, so enjoy this montage. Day 43 was baby raising day, and it was a really time-consuming process, and I knew that this was only the beginning. However, since I was using the S Plus mod, there were structures I could make that automatically imprinted my creatures, but I felt like that was cheating. I continued raising baby Therizinos on day 44 and officially started my Rex army. And on day 45, I tended to my crops, which I hadn't done in a really long time, and continued raising up my Rexes. Obviously, a lot of the coming days are going to be spent like this. Day 46, I hopped on one of my Rexes and went out to get some oil as well as level them up. So I headed to a north area of the map that had a ton of oil, and I made sure to grab as much as I could carry. On the way back, I tamed this Lystrosaurus, and when I got home, I started mass crafting some gasoline. Just chewing some gum, I hope you guys don't mind. That was a funny bit of comedy, so laugh. When the sun rose later, I rode around on some of my Rexes to get them some levels, and while I was at it, I found this level 80 Megatherium, which is exactly what I needed. And Megatheriums get the best taming efficiency with honey, so I built this ramp to get easy access to these beehives because I would need honey for other things later. Then I quickly built up a trap while I still had daylight and made sure it was knocked out and taming way before then. On day 48, I went looking for a female Megatherium so I could start breeding a Megatherium army for the spider mommy, but I wasn't really finding anything. However, the Sabertooth decided to tussle, so I got a little creative with my punishment. It was kind of funny. Closer to the evening, I got a little bored of looking for a Megatherium, so I hopped on my Basilosaurus to go see if I can raid one of the underwater caves. And let me tell you, those underwater caves are scary. Fortunately, my Basilo was an absolute unit, but this cave was full of horrible giant creatures who just wanted to eat my intestines. Though, funnily enough, I managed to make it to the artifact without too much difficulty. And so that night, I ended up flying home a lot more intact than I thought I was going to be after that cave. On day 50, I realized I'd never actually caught the artifact from the lava cave. I just sort of danced around it the whole time so far. So, I needed to go get that. Yeah, I wasted an entire day doing that. I'm not happy about it either. The next morning, I tamed a dung beetle.
Oh, Pooh Beetle is mine.
After that, I headed back up to the surface where I spent the rest of the day leveling up my Rexes and heading over to the eastern coast where I would try and tackle the eastern underwater cave. Day 52, I visited the other underwater cave, which to my good fortune was not heavily populated. Not only was it really easy to get to the artifact because of the lack of creatures, but there were a bunch of those underwater scorpion thingies that gave me a buttload of black pearls. On day 53, I learned from my Structures Plus mod that I could actually turn my animals into chibis if I wanted to.
Chibify? I can do that?
I spent the rest of the day organizing and crafting more ammo for my boomstick. Day 54, I continued my baby raisin spree and crafted a bunch of stimulants so I could make some veggie cakes. Day 55 was much more eventful. I went out once again looking for a female Megatherium, and it was my lucky day finally. I found this suitable level 68. And of course, you know the drill, boys.
Yeah, boy.
I got the 2-for-1 deal on my way home by taming up this Diodon, because these beasties are amazing for healing up the homies in battle. And I'm not even kidding, The next 4 days were spent making veggie cakes, which in other words basically means I spent almost that whole time just gathering the resources for the veggie cakes, which in my defense, it took me this long because I was figuring out how to get these resources most of the time.
Yes.
When I was doing some research at the beginning of day 60 to find out what all I needed for the beta dragon, one of the things I needed was a Giganotosaurus heart. The only way to get a Giganotosaurus heart is to kill a Giganotosaurus. So I spent most of the day looking for one to murder, and it was really hard. I found nothing, which isn't surprising because they're really rare, and I almost killed my Therizino in the process.
No. Oh.
So I ended up cryopotting my Therizino in order to keep him safe. And I didn't want to go home completely alone on foot, so I tamed up this scorpion and let's just say I've made better decisions.
Oh, I hate it.
But in the end, it didn't actually matter because I got stuck with him while I was trying to get some ending pace out of this beaver dam.
I'm stuck. How? You're pissing me off. Sorry, man, but you were pissing me off.
I would say a couple words of remembrance, but no, he was gross. I have no regrets. My hunt for a Giganotosaurus lasted into the next day, and it ended surprisingly quickly.
Ooh.
I needed to exercise extreme caution with this, as I didn't want to end up like this 16-ounce family pack of Oscar Mayer deli fresh oven roasted turkey breast.
Just sit here and take it. You stuck? What are you doing, buddy? Ah, there he comes. I don't want to get off until I am positive that you can't get up here. Just keep hitting him in the tail. That's the play. Yes. Yes.
Day 62, I delivered all of the dragon tributes to the red obelisk so I could teleport to his boss arena when I was ready, and I spent the rest of the day leveling up some of my dinos. The entirety of day 63 was spent giving my lower level creatures more levels because they needed to be ready to fight bosses. The first thing in my notes for day 64 said, "Kill babies. Hell yeah," in all caps.
I'm going to commit murder.
There you go. And then I kept leveling up my creatures. I made my way to the blue obelisk on day 65 to deliver the tributes for the big monkey. Then I decided, with a little bit more preparation, I was ready to fight the bosses. And I would start on day 70 with the dragon. The brunt of this preparation work was mostly just making veggie cakes, a ton of health brews, and a small variety of specialized soups that would help me deal with the climates in each boss arena. But it's not really helpful if you don't make the right kind of soup, just saying.
Oh, that's Lazarus chowder. Oh shit.
I'm so not ready for this. Yeah, so all my notes had to say for this little scenario was waiting for the homies to wake up.
Oh boy.
Oh.
let's not do that. Oh my gosh. Doing so much damage to him. Are you doing stand a chance? Did I lose anybody? Is everybody still here? How are y'all doing, guys? Good? Good.
Yeah, and honestly, after that, I have no freaking clue how I didn't notice that the damage was off, like the damage per levels. I like I said at the beginning, I didn't notice until after the fact I was recording, and well, it's not necessarily cheating. It doesn't really give me that well-rounded experience that I want, so I can guarantee that Scorched Earth is going to be all basic. When I returned home from the battle on day 71, I wanted to make a pair of tech pants, but ironically, instead of having the harder to obtain materials to make the tech pants, all I was missing was some crystal and metal, but the metal is easy since I already had that in my industrial forge. And then I found out where I used most of my crystal. Why did I make so many of these? Oh, I'm so mad at myself. I don't need this many. I really don't need this many. Dude, if there were other people on that island with me, I could have started my own cryopod business. This is when I also learned that each piece of tech armor has its own special function.
Yo, what just happened?
And now I was ready to fight the spider mummy.
Where's my Yuri? Wait. Whoa. Back up. Dude, that took no time. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Okay. I decided that since I beat the broodmother so easily, I'd just go after the big monkey boy. That boulder throw just took out two of my dudes. Just killed two of my goons. Who died? No, man. You know what? I tried my best to make these cinematic, but it's really hard when you're literally doing 2,000 damage a pop. After that, I recognized that I was definitely ready to take on the Tech Cave and the Overseer. So I crafted up the other two pieces of tech armor that I had unlocked, which was only the gauntlets and the boots. And that Zany Zebra video really had me thinking, especially with his painting bit. I really wanted to do that too. It inspired me. And, well, let's just say, one of us is cut out for it and the other isn't.
Here we go. This is gonna be cool.
Yeah, it wasn't me. Day 73. I lost everything. Are you f***ing kidding me right now?
Where was it? No way. Can I still... You're joking. You're joking right now. Oh... No...
Don't understand what's happening? Yeah, I don't really blame you. What happened was, I was in the tech cave when I was recording, and the power breaker in my house went off, crashing the game and shutting off my computer. When I got back on, my character was gone, along with everything he had, but everything he built and all the standing dinosaurs that he tamed, still there. But they didn't belong to me, since I had to create a new guy.
Yeah, so every single thread I've seen says I can't get any of this back. This is all lost. I think it's justified to use some cheats. What do you say?
So I spent the rest of the day inside the volcano, right outside the doors of the tech cave, using cheat codes to get myself to exactly where I was before. Well, almost exactly. I didn't bring as many Rexes in with me, I only brought 10 as opposed to the 18 I originally had. Ooh, deep breath, deep breath. We got there, we have the goal in mind, can't lose that. No way I was gonna let a glitch stop me.
Alright. You guys ready? Alright, we're all in. Yep. Where'd the Giga go? Had to render in. Yes. I've seen people walk through here, but it's so different in person. That's where we fought the dragon. Big scary spider mama. Oh my gosh. Hairy Chinese. Whoa, wait. That's Earth? Oh yeah. That's like after the element infection. So that's why Earth is all screwed up. Oh, this gotta be my favorite part. I've always wanted to see this in person. chill out for a second. It is. See where? Can I step around so I can see where our base is? I believe it's like right under us. It's got to be like right there. Oh, that is so cool. Kill it. Kill it. Where'd it go? Oh, it turned into dragon form. Kill him. Yes. Oh, we're destroying him.